Okay. Why Ishtar? Why do we have Ishtar mixed in with our God, Yahweh? Why do we have that mixed in with fertility goddess mixed in with worship of our resurrection, or the resurrection of Jesus Christ, Yeshua? Why do we do that? Gotta quit about 10 after. So, why Ishtar? People get set in their ways. They have a culture, they have things that they've been doing year after year after year, but they don't go back and study why that was introduced into their culture or their religion. Ishtar came in very early in in Mesopotamia, the Tigris and Euphrates rivers is where Abraham and Terah, his father, where they came from. And that was their trade, making these images to these false gods. I've got 3 books that I got out on Ishtar. And if you really study it, it can get confusing because there's so much interaction between all these gods. The sexuality and fertility of Ishtar, and then now she's a goddess of war. It seems like a contradiction. They contradict each other a lot of it. There's no continuity to it. It's all mixed up. It's kind of like our society now. There's no, you can be whatever gender you want to be, you can worship it, you can mix other gods in with yours, and you can be a man and a woman both same time, or you can be one or the other one. It's just, there's no continuity to it. But our worship of Yahweh is one God. And the first commandment says, you shall have no other gods before me. We are a strictly one God system. There's no plethora of gods mixed all together, which whenever they did that, that's what got Yahweh angry. It's like me and James were speaking earlier. It was okay if you had went to the temple and worshiped Yahweh, then you could come out of the temple and worship the Queen of Heaven, because you consider her a little lesser, or they may have even thought she was better. But it doesn't matter, because you do whatever you want to do. You be whatever sex you want to be. You worship whatever God you want to worship. She had a husband. The practices, they had prostitutes in this pantheon, Parthenon. In Rome, I think there was one in Turkey. There's one in Turkey. And now they have one in Nashville with a statue of Aphrodite, which is the Greek version of Ishtar. Each language, each culture had a different name for the same goddess. And back in Mesopotamia, it started out Sumerian, S-U-M-E-R, not Sumerian, like in Israel. Sumerian, which was, they called her Inanna. Then Acadia, she got transformed to Ishtar, and the Semitic group, which is actually, then Hebrew came out of that. Hebrew wasn't the first language that they had, it evolved. And then what was the other one?
Akkadian,
Well, the one that Jesus spoke.
Aramaic.
Aramaic came from that also. So these first tablets that talk about Ishtar are cuneiform tablets of stone. All the Hebrew documents we have are on papyri, which came after the stone. So Hebrew came later. But this worship of Ishtar is so ancient and old, it must have been come into play right after they got kicked out of the garden, I would assume.
Well, if you remember back or think back then, the most important thing was fertility, because the more children you had, the more people you had in your group to help you plant and harvest. So it makes sense that they would start out by worshiping fertility. But they made a goddess for it, and
Yeah, it was a blessing to have a lot of children.
you know, they were actually your livelihood. That's how you.
Well, did even Yahweh said to Abraham, "I want to make you a father of many nations."
Yep.
So that was as the sands of the sea. So that was a blessing. But now he's waiting until he's 100 years old before he has. Of course, they did some intervening themselves. HBO and all that, and Hagar. But anyway, the thing we're trying to bring out is to be a follower of Yahweh, we have to be very direct in the way we worship and follow Him, exactly as the Bible said. No other gods. But these foreign gods, when you mix in this with the worship of Yahweh, it's not really committed worship. As I've been studying this, I'm thinking about, I heard on the radio in Hawaii, they have these sleds now that they used to do in like the late 1800s on this particular island. I think it was Oahu, but I'm not sure. It's coming back now. They're making these sleds, and they go down these lava mountains. But it was involved in this false god worship. Pele or something?
Pele, I think.
Pele.
I think that's what you said.
And they make these sleds, and they're not very wide, but they're like 18 feet long. I have a picture of it. I was going to put it on there, and this made me start thinking. Now, if you decide you want to get involved in this sport, and you go to this island in Hawaii, aren't you actually becoming involved in worship of this God? It must be.
Yeah, I would think so.
So, coloring Easter eggs and having Easter egg hunts and giving away chocolate bunnies to the kids and candy, when we're participating in that and we're saying it's Easter, Easter comes from the word Ishtar, but it's not.
Actually, I think Easter is the English name of Ishtar.
Ishtar.
It's translated to English
Right.
as Ishtar.
So it has nothing to do with the resurrection of Christ. You're involving other gods in the worship of Yahweh, and He detests that.
Here's something. He's talking about how you mix things in and call it Christianity or the worship of God when it's not, because we can't mix things in. But today, even now, there's an organization called the Christian Transhumanist Association, and they believe that God's mission involves the transformation and renewal of creation, including humanity, and that we are called by Christ to participate in that mission, working against illness, hunger, oppression, injustice, and death. So they have taken this transhumanism, in case you don't know what that is, that's combining DNA of animals with the DNA of humans to create a hybrid or a new creature, but not the same as the new creature that God creates in
Part
us.
human, part animal.
And they brought this into their worship. So they're doing the same thing as using Ishtar and all these other gods and goddesses that brought in for Easter or whatever celebration you want in the church, and it should not be that way. This should not be either, because that's not the new creature that God wants created.
There's certain boundaries that God created for us, for our protection. When you're walking in obedience to God's law, Yahweh's law, you receive blessings from Him. And if you are deceived by false practices that, well, it's conceived by Satan, it's going to hinder you from receiving the blessings of Yahweh. And we want to be a blessed people. Blessings mean you have peace of mind, no anxiety, you shouldn't, you have faith in Him that He's going to provide all your needs. It's called shalom. You have a peace because all your needs are met, you're healthy, you're producing children, you have a good, happy family life. There's no, like I was saying before, in Mayfield, 43% of the children don't have a father in the home. That's not shalom. That is a divided house. And if we were closely associated with a relationship with Yahweh, He can bless that family. He can bless your life. And you don't have to have anxiety. You don't have to be worried about diseases, sexual diseases and all this. You don't have to be sick. And like He's shown me, you receive wisdom when you become in a prayer. He reveals things to you, wisdom that you normally wouldn't get. If you're trying to get wisdom in the world, it's not truth. It's false. It's like they're trying to say, that herbs, they're trying to get us more involved in pharmaceuticals. And they got side effects and they cause more harm than good. But you will receive wisdom that's going to make your life better, a blessed life, happier, and more in unity with Yahweh. It's going to be a blessed life. And I've been studying Ishtar. Everything's mixed up. It's a pantheon of gods. They're all mixed up in different, it doesn't make any sense. And I'm trying to read it and I'm saying, man, I need to get back in the Bible. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's this dude, what's his name is Ishtar's husband, and she's a god of war, and because she's love and war, she gets raped. And all this,
I was just thinking about that, why they made her the goddess of love and of war, but of fertility, because that's life and death. She's the goddess of life and death.
Yeah,
so that's why they combined her with war.
But there's no continuity to it. It's all mixed up. There's no Now there's not just a man and a woman. Now we got all these genders. Now it's a man and an animal, and you could be a man and a woman together. And I don't know. Man, it's like this guy wrote this book. I'm like intersex, transgender, cupiosexual, reciprosexual woman. I don't even know what all those things mean, but that sounds like something.
Yeah, you said he was a worshiper of Ishtar, didn't you?
He or she or whatever. It says reciprosexual woman. There's no continuity to it. I mean, it's right and wrong in the Bible. It's either right, it's either following Yahweh or it's being disobedient.
God, in the very beginning, separated the light and the darkness. Now they're wanting to bring the light and the darkness
Mix it
all
together so there's no.
into a shadow or whatever you'd like to call it.
Yeah, so there's no.
No right, no wrong, no good, no evil. It's all
Mixed
everything
together
is,
so you can't say evil's evil or righteousness is righteousness. There's no rules. It's chaos. It's chaotic.
which is the way the world began. We're going backwards.
This country was founded on Judeo-Christian principles, and we need to get back to that if we're going to have any kind of order. And I'm seriously worried about our community here. When I try to talk about Easter eggs and everything, people reject it. It's like it's such a part of our culture that even it's just, they don't want it. You can't break them from doing it anymore. It's such a part of their culture. They don't want to hear anything different. They're so used to it's a habit that they don't want to give up.
Well, the kids enjoy hunting Easter eggs. Why not? It doesn't hurt anything.
Yeah.
Except for teaching them to worship a fertility goddess.
And chocolate and candy and everything. I mean, it's like, the sugar is what's causing a lot of problems with our society too, with the sicknesses.
Milk, chocolate. Kids don't
And
eat
all that stuff. And when we're all so sick and everything, the healthcare costs go way up.
And as we were talking earlier, in this country, I saw where that of all the world, all the pharmaceuticals in the world, 75% of them are taken by Americans. The rest of the world only takes 25%. We take 3/4 of all the pharmaceuticals that are made are taken by people in this country.
Well, a city I used to live in, that was a major pharmaceutical producer over there.
Well, now they're even made in China, not even made here.
Yeah, well, I dated a girl that her father had a pharmaceutical company in Japan. But in this particular town where I came from, when we had that recession, there was no recession there. If people are still getting sick, they're gonna take pharmaceuticals. So, but anyway, Yahweh needs to be our focus. Only Him and none else. Did you read Jeremiah? I don't think you read it.
We didn't
44 something, 17.
44:19.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Jeremiah the prophet talks about the queen of heaven, who is Ishtar. But in chapter 44, verse 19, the women also said, and when we burned incense to the queen of heaven and poured out drink offerings to her, did we make cakes for her, to worship her, pour out drink offerings to her without our husband's permission? Then Jeremiah spoke to all the people, the men, the women, and all the people who had given him that answer, saying, the incense that you burned in the cities of Judah and in the streets of Jerusalem, you and your fathers, your kings and your princes and the people of the land, did not the Lord remember them And did it not come into his mind? So the Lord could no longer bear it because of the evil of your doings and because of the abominations which you committed. Therefore your land is desolation, astonishment, a curse, and without an inhabitant, that is this day. And then I'll skip on down here.
A curse and uninhabited, because they were saying they were following Yahweh, but they're worshiping the Queen of Heaven.
Well, they, like you said before, they worship the Lord first, and then they'd go out and worship these other gods and goddesses and think it's okay because, hey, we worshiped Yahweh, and now we can go do this because they can help us with this and this and this, which he may not help us with. So as they say here, did we not have success in our lives from offering these incense offerings to Ishtar, the Queen of Heaven? So they actually believed that it was okay to worship other gods with God. It was very hard for them to see that he meant one God, and that's the way it's supposed to be.
See that the polyistic, you're still bringing that over into Christianity when you say you can have a plethora of gods.
That's the way the world worships them. They thought
Right.
they should be able to do that too.
But you're mixing paganism in with Christianity. That's called syncretism. You can't mix the two together. It's got to be all Yahweh and only Yahweh. Because they're false gods. He's the only true and only true.
Yes, he is.
So,
And at the end of the age, we're going to have all this falling away and all this false gods that are going to be everywhere. People are going to be flocking to them and abandoning the one true God. And that's what we have to prepare ourselves for.
just because I didn't investigate this myself, but the eggs and everything, a friend of mine told me it was 321, what was his name, that mixed everything with Christianity, Constantine.
Oh, yeah.
That's where it started.
Yeah.
So it's been going on so long, people think it's okay. Because it's been going on so long and everybody does it. That doesn't mean it's okay. We gotta be loyal to Yahweh only and Yeshua HaMashiach. It's gotta be him only him. If you wanna be blessed, you can't just go back and forth. It's gotta be all him and nothing else.
And you can't bring other gods in and say it's okay because he, and without realizing it, all this stuff, because he's, as he said, it's all been going on for so long, people don't think
I think it's
anything about
okay,
it.
but it's not.
And you can't do that because you're defiling God's, the worship of God.
It's disrespecting, really. If he's the one that's blessing you with all your blessings and you give your attention to someone else that can't do anything for you, you're showing disrespect. So, but I think we'll end it here. Is there anything else you can think of?
No, that's pretty much covers.
Studying these books, I wanted to get a more thorough understanding of it. And after studying these books, it's even more confusing. The way it doesn't make any sense the way they do these false gods. It's confusing. So, if you want to stay on track with Yahweh.
Isn't that the object of it though, to confuse
I
everybody?
know.
So it's working.
I know. So,